Action!
Hey guys, it's Fel today. Wes is behind the camera and we're filming something a little different. We've gotten some requests for videos, so maybe this will be like a Fridays with Fel segment or something like that. If you have any ideas for videos that you want to see while we're here in Canada, it's like a great time for us to just make videos for you guys. And the first one, our first Friday with Fel, is tips on solo female travel, which is a request that we got from Snapchat. And I'm going to share tips on solo female travel because, believe it or not, before I met Wes, I did my fair share of traveling on my own and I would really recommend it. So this video I think is for someone who's watching and maybe you have a passion for travel but you're not doing it because you have no one to go with. And I really don't think that not having someone to go with should stop you from traveling. I've had great experiences. An exchange abroad in Australia that I went to on my own. I've been to Mexico on my own. I did a road trip in California a couple years ago on my own. And so I will always advocate for the solo female travel. And like regardless of what people say, it is significantly harder for a woman to travel alone. And I can say that because I've done both. And now with Wes, well, he's a guy, so that helps for sure, but also just to travel with someone helps in some regards. So I'll give you sort of the pros and the differences that I've seen with both. So my first piece of advice is figure out why it is that you want to travel and pick a destination that you're genuinely excited about and curious about. I was genuinely excited to go to Australia. I had never been before, really excited about my exchange opportunity. And so I think that really helps take away some of the fears. If I had picked a place that I wasn't really interested in, that would definitely hold me back. So pick a place that that's always been on your list or something like that, and that will help with your first experience. But if you're scared or if fear is holding you back, pick a place that you've already been to. Maybe you've been with your friends or your family, and try going on your own. Try going somewhere for a weekend. Take your baby steps, judge your level of comfort, because solo female travel ranges from like the PCT, if you've seen the movie Wild with Cheryl Strayed, to like a weekend away on your own. And so there's a huge range and there's no real need to like jump to the extreme. Take it as it goes and grow as a traveler that way. Like there's no pressure. One of the great things about traveling on your own, whether you're female or male, I feel like this video will help males too, I guess. But one of the great things about solo travel is that you can do whatever you want. There's nobody there with you to say like, oh no, but I want to go to the museum. Like you can generally, any day, you can do whatever you want. You can sleep in, you can go to the sites that you want to go to, you can be flexible in your schedule, and so I think that's a great pro of solo travel. Let's see, I actually made a list. Accommodation. I think the best place to stay if you're solo traveling is a hostel. The environment in a hostel is just really welcoming, and a lot of people there are traveling on their own. If you're not crazy about sleeping in a dorm with strangers who snore, then don't. A lot of hostels have single rooms, and so you get the benefit of sleeping on your own and having your privacy, and also the shared common areas, like a shared kitchen, a shared, I don't know, all those facilities that you get in a hostel. If you want to use something like Airbnb, that's great too, like we use it all the time, but definitely check your reviews. If you're a female, maybe look for a female host or a family host or something like that, but definitely check your reviews. I would still recommend a hostel, especially for a beginner. Transportation, I would definitely look for your ways to get from the airport to your hostel ahead of time. Don't rely on Wi-Fi when you get to an airport, even though most airports do have public Wi-Fi, but always look up your directions so that you don't get to a place and you're just like lost from the beginning. Definitely plan ahead, and traveling does take a lot of planning. I take the bulk of the planning when we travel together, and so plan ahead and don't always rely on Wi-Fi. Which brings me to my next thing. A SIM card will definitely help make solo travel easier for females or males. When we're traveling together, Wes usually gets a SIM card on his phone, so I rely on that. If I were traveling on my own, I'd make sure I have a SIM card in my phone, because you always want to be able to call for help. And emergency numbers, they're different all around the world. Here it's 911, but that's not the case in Europe. I think it's like 112. In some countries it's 999. So it doesn't hurt to put it in your phone or to write it down somewhere and just have your emergency numbers just in case. Hopefully you won't have to call for help. We've never had an incident, we've never had to call. But it definitely, like, even if you see something happen, like, you want to be able to call for help. So know your emergency numbers. If you have an itinerary when you're traveling and you know more or less where you're going to be for the week or the month or however long you're gone, let someone know. Give your mom your itinerary, or your friends, or whoever it is. Let them know where you're going to be. Check in every now and then, because the last thing you want is someone halfway across the world stressing out because you haven't posted in a while, or you haven't kept in touch. Like, definitely do your checking in and just share your travels with whoever. So send your itinerary, and obviously it doesn't have to be like, you know, every single day or every hour or whatever, but you want people to know where you are and where you're headed next. Ladies tend to overpack, and I am guilty of that. If you are traveling on your own and you're packing, do not pack more than you can comfortably carry. Luckily, I have Wes, who actually picks up my suitcase and takes it up the stairs if there's no escalator or elevator. But you don't want to be relying on other people when you're traveling, and you don't have to overpack. Like, pack for 10 days and do laundry. Because believe it or not, like, you can do laundry every week anywhere in the world, and no one's gonna care if you're wearing the same thing, because you're not gonna be seeing the same people every day. I'd say one of the most awkward things about traveling solo is the eating out thing. If you watch our vlogs, you know that I like food in different countries. I love to try different foods, so I have no problem with sitting down at a restaurant asking, you know, getting a table for one. That's totally fine, but it does get a bit awkward. I would use that opportunity to connect with people, like chit chat with the waiters, or observe things that maybe you would miss if you were sitting at a table with someone. Sit at the counter or at the bar if you don't want to sit at a table for yourself. There are so many alternatives to avoid that sort of like awkward table for one thing. In Bangkok, we were eating in food courts a lot, so you're always surrounded by people. If you're in a hostel, you can make use of the kitchens. Markets have great street food, so the eating for one thing, I know that like puts people off a bit, but I don't know, just enjoy your meals. Another thing I would suggest, if you're male or female, and you're watching YouTube or you're on Instagram or whatever, follow the people that are doing it. So follow the solo female travelers, because you get a real sense of what it's like when you're watching someone in their Insta stories or whatever it may be when they're traveling on their own. I don't know, I think you'll get a lot of valuable advice that way, through the eyes of someone else, especially if you're going to a destination that they're in, or that they're going to, or that they know a lot about. So definitely turn to those people for tips, and on our channel too, like, keep watching our channel. I would always wear a watch. I know a lot of people say, like, don't wear flashy jewelry and stuff, and I hardly do when we're traveling. But I do like to wear a watch because it avoids you taking your phone out all the time. Like, you don't want to always draw attention to yourself, so wear a watch and you'll always know what time it is. Wes is laughing. Maybe that's not like a good tip, I don't know. Probably one of the biggest tips that you'll get for staying safe on the road is to do as the locals do. You want to blend in when you're traveling alone, and it's harder in some countries, but definitely pay attention to what people are wearing, how people are acting. It's common in some countries to jaywalk. In other countries, that is like a big no-no, and so the last thing you want to do is stick out like a sore thumb. Like, do your best to blend in. As a female, I don't want to say wear conservative clothing, because if you're a stylish person, you're a stylish person, but also be mindful of what other people are wearing. Be respectful of other cultures, and know that, like, yeah, maybe your long flowy dress with the midriff showing would look really good in a photo, but it might not be ideal in all countries. So I always pick comfort over anything. Like, I'm pretty sure that is noticeable in our videos, but you want to dress comfortably, especially for long travel days. Comfortable shoes, like ladies, I know maybe you want to wear heels, but the last thing you want is to ruin a trip because you've got blisters or something really like not important like that. Do as the locals do. I also think that a big thing when you're traveling alone, whether you're male or female, is to look confident. Walk with a purpose when you're going somewhere. I know it's easy, especially for me, to get distracted and want to stop everywhere for photos. But if you're going from A to B and maybe you're a little bit, you know, nervous or something, I'm not sure, but walk with a purpose and you'll find that you're approached less by people that are trying to sell things or like scam you maybe. Know where you're going and be confident, like hold your head up and I don't know, be assertive. I'm like not the most assertive person, but be assertive. I also think it doesn't hurt to lie a little bit, like a little white lie won't hurt anybody. If you're traveling alone and someone approaches you or you want to get out of a dodgy situation, just be like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, like I'm meeting my boyfriend later, or, you know, my friends are waiting for me at the movies. Something to just sort of like, you know, make them know that you're not alone. And I don't know, I think that might help. Things like, this isn't necessarily for solo female travel, but like just in general, safety while traveling. Don't keep all your money in one place. Only withdraw as much as you need from an ATM. So don't like take out all your money and keep it all in your wallet and keep it in like a slinky purse so that when one person, like if someone steals your purse or whatever, then you're kind of screwed. Don't keep everything all in one place. Make copies of your passports and important documents. Keep them at your hostel or use the safety deposit boxes if there are, or lockers or things like that. Be sort of like precautious in that way. Luckily, I can't think of a single instance where anything has happened that we've had to like call for help or had something stolen, but you really never know, so you want to cover your bases wherever you can. Another thing is you definitely want to hide some of your flashy items, expensive gear, things like that. Like if you're traveling on your own, you don't want to bring attention to yourself that way. If you're traveling in a tour, then you have sort of that safety net, you know, other people are with you with their cameras and stuff like that. I think another great thing about solo travel is that you can adjust accordingly. So if you want to spend every single day on your own, you can do that. And if you get lonely, you can interact with the people at your hostel. You can take a free walking tour. You can join group activities as often as you want. If you want to do something with a new person every day, you can do that. If you want to break up a month of travel with like 1 week of a guided group tour, you can do that too. And so I enjoy time alone. I have no problem traveling on my own, but you always want to be sort of open because you never really know who you're going to meet. And so if you're dead focused on your itinerary for the day, you might miss out on a chance to, I don't know, have dinner with a local family because you didn't see something and you were just you're beelining for the museum right when it opened or something like that. So always be open to things that might come your way and might enhance that solo travel experience, because a lot of times when you're by yourself, you get approached easier. And I know it might sound like a bad thing, like you don't want people bugging you, but a lot of times like people are inherently good. Like we've learned that on our travels. So you might get approached by someone who sees someone alone, maybe you're in a coffee shop and it's like, oh, you know, where are you from? And chit chat that could lead to something really great, like a weekend with their family at the cottage or something like that you could never imagine, you could never plan for, and it would just make your trip so much more memorable. So don't be too reserved or shy or paranoid, because paranoia will definitely get to you on your trip. Like I know Wes is really good at keeping an eye on our surroundings, and if you're traveling on your own, you should be aware of what's going on around you, but don't overthink things and don't get in your head too much like, oh, that guy has been following me since we got off the bus. Maybe he's just going home and you got off at the same stop. But be mindful, right? Don't be too naive. I I'm guilty of being a little naive because I trust people too easily maybe, but be smart and trust your gut, because your instincts are like, if you can feel something off, then try to remove yourself from that situation. I think I like to always learn how to say thank you in a language, but maybe learn how to say no thank you in a language so that you can sort of, you know, keep going and you don't flag yourself as like not being from here. You can say no thank you in French or Portuguese, whatever it is, and just go on your way. And so yeah, I feel like I babbled a lot, but I think the key points are, if you're traveling on your own, don't let the fact that you're on your own stop you. Try a place that you've been to before if you're a little bit nervous about going to somewhere new on your own. Be aware of your surroundings. Be mindful of how you look and you want to blend in with the locals if you're traveling on your own and you don't want to draw too much attention to yourself. Share your itinerary with someone. I don't know how much of this list I got through, but I hope that this helped at least one person gain a bit of confidence traveling on their own. If you guys follow us regularly, you know that we're here in Canada. We have time and we would love to share as many tips as we can. And if you have ideas, send them our way. Wes is here. I don't know if he has anything to say.
Hi.
Yeah, this was kind of fun. I might have been a bit nervous at first, but I know it's just you guys, and yeah, the main thing was to help if you guys have questions. So thanks.
And we want to thank Las Fashionista for recommending this video idea on Snapchat. Okay, she doesn't want me to tell you guys this, okay? Because she's very reserved. Is that the right word?
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Okay, but it's her birthday tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay? So like, it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Phil.
Thanks, Wes.
Adios, amigos.
Listening to people speak Japanese to each other, it is like such a nice language. I don't know why, but I really like the language. The culture, I don't know, day one and Fel is falling for Japan.